Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayantla Pravishtam Vishnupa Paramahamsa Stotara Satashimat. His Divine Grace Sri Bhakti Vedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayantla Pravishtam Vishnupa Paramahamsa Stotara Satashimat. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. From Sikaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Navadvi Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Hare Nam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pstavitale. Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinam Namate Saraswati Devarana Vichandra Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nasta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from 9th Canto, Chapter 7, The Descendants of King Mandata. Text 21. Tata Purusha Medena Harishchandra Mahayasha Muktodaro Yayadevan Varunadin Mahat Kata. We're going to do this. Just read the translation until the verse that has a purport, if you're right with that. Thereafter, the famous King Harishchandra, one of the exalted persons in history, performed grand sacrifices by sacrificing a man and pleased all the demigods. In this way, his dropsy created by Varuna was cured. In that great human sacrifice, Vishwamitra was the chief priest to offer oblations. The perfectly self-realized Jamadagni had the responsibility for chanting the mantras from the Jahur Veda. Vashishta was the chief Brahminical priest, and the sage Ayasya was the reciter of the hymns of the Samaveda. King Indra, being very pleased with Harishchandra, offered him a gift of a golden chariot. Sunashepa's glory will be presented along with the description of the son of Vishwamitra. The great sage Vishwamitra saw that Maharaj Harishchandra, along with his wife, was truthful, forbearing, and concerned with the essence. Thus he gave them imperishable knowledge for fulfillment of the human mission. Maharaj Harishchandra first purified his mind, which was full of material enjoyment, by amalgamating it with the earth. Then he amalgamated the earth with water, the water with fire, the fire with air, and the air with the sky. Thereafter, he amalgamated the sky with the total material energy, and the total material energy with spiritual knowledge. This spiritual knowledge is realization of oneself as part of the Supreme Lord. When the self-realized spiritual soul is engaged in service to the Lord, he is eternally imperceptible and inconceivable. Thus established in spiritual knowledge, he is completely freed from material bondage. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th Canto, 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Descendants of King Mandata. So we start now with the 8th chapter. But let me just briefly explain a little something, because I know everybody is wondering, what about this human sacrifice in the Srimad Bhagavatam? How do you explain that? To not only to other people, to yourself, you know. I mean, Swaras Prabhu and Ranat Maharaj were discussing that after the class yesterday. And I just, you know, it occurred to me that in Vedic times, there was animal sacrifices, that we know. But the interesting thing is, they have the power with mantra to bring back to life the animal, rejuvenated. Isn't? So if that is the case with animals, why not with human beings? So naturally, the man is brought back to life, younger and stronger. So then it is not killing. It's just to prove the power of the Vedic mantras. Mm-hmm. So that's, I think, solved the problem a little bit. What do you think? Isn't? Okay. Now, there are evil human sacrifices, which the human is not brought back to life. Then it is murder. One example. When Jadabharata was caught by this gang, you know, to sacrifice in front of Goddess Kali, they threw a net on him and they captured him because they had a human animal, means somebody retarded or something, you know, it's like an animal. So he escaped. So they saw Jadabharata in full meditation. They thought he must be also a spaced out guy or something. So let's sacrifice him. And when they were gonna kill him in front of Goddess Kali, I mean, kill him for good. No mantras to bring him back. These were evil people. So Kali itself couldn't tolerate that the pure devotee of the Lord will be sacrificed in front of her. So she came out of the deity, of her own deity. She came out with her associate and started to chop off the heads of all the evil people there. They were playing ball with their heads, you know. Have you seen those paintings in the Bhagavatam? Far out, isn't? So when they were drinking the blood from the neck, you know, the Rakshasis, of course. Anyway, if somebody likes horror movie, he can read Bhagavatam too. There are many interesting things there. So anyway, so we see that King Harishchandra, at the end, he achieved, you know, perfection because he got the mercy from Vishwamitra. He was given transcendental knowledge. So because he passed the test, you know, Harishchandra had to go through a very heavy test. He lost his kingdom, he lost his wife, his son, he lost everything. He was steadfast in his determination to follow religious principle. He was put to test by Vishwamitra, and he passed the test. And because of that, Vishwamitra was pleased with him, so he gave him transcendental knowledge. And through that, he got self-realization. So that's the summary of the chapter we just read. Any question about that? Any comment about that? Yes. Yes. They will sacrifice like an old ox, old horse, and they bring him back to life younger and stronger.
But they say that even ordinarily when you just kill an animal,
yes.
without any sacrifice or anything, they say that it's sinful because it makes that animal have to take birth again.
That's correct. That's why it is prohibited in Kali Yuga, animal sacrifice, what to speak of human sacrifice. Well, it's to prove the power of the Vedic mantras and to please the Lord. So the final situation here is that those were the prescribed religious principle for that time, which were sacrifices, fire sacrifices, which included animal sacrifices. But not in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga is prohibited. See, for each age there is a prescribed method to please the Lord. And for that time, that was the process. That's simple. Well, I mean to say, there are so many versions about that. But we accept what Prabhupada said in his purport, that they bring back the animal to life. So, if they bring him back to life, he will not be lacking some part or something. He has to be complete, you know. So maybe some other kind of sacrifices. Of course, because it was in Kali Yuga. And in the Vedas itself, it says it is prohibited in Kali Yuga to do animal sacrifices. So the people didn't listen to that part. They wanted only the part that allowed them to eat the meat by sacrifices, you know. The same thing with the Bible too, you know. They used to do animal sacrifices. But then Jesus stopped that. I read one translation from the Dead Sea Scrolls, where Jesus said to his, you know, he was giving a sermon to the people, and he's saying, God gave Moses the 10 Commandments. The 5th is, you should not kill. But seeing that the Jews' heart was very hard, he allowed them to do animal sacrifices in order to avoid that they will kill each other. But then by sacrificing animal, their heart became hardened, and they start to kill each other too. But I tell you, Jesus said, you should not kill humans nor animals. Those who eat food from violence and blood, they will make their body their own grave. And those who eat alive food, they will have better life. And those who kill an animal, they have to pay for it. So he was against animal killing, according to this statement from the Dead Sea Scrolls. So since then, it is prohibited also to kill animals. That's why you find in the Bible contradiction that in some places they say it's okay. Maybe in previous ages, but not for the time when Jesus came. He stopped that. That's why he became angry at the temple and threw all the merchants out there because they were selling animals for sacrifice. So he was angry at that. So let's read something from this chapter now. So let's go on. Chapter 8, the sons of Sagara meet Lord Kapiladev. Text 1. Go ahead, please. So, devotee can read along. Chapter 8, text 1. Yeah, go with the translation. We are going to read only the verse in Sanskrit with the purport. Text 1. Shukadeva Goswami continued, the son of Rohita was Harita, and Harita's son was Champa, who constructed the town of Champapuri. The son of Champa was Sudeva, and his son was Vijay. The son of Vijay was Baruka. Baruka's son was Brika, and Brika's son was Bahuka. The enemies of King Bahuka took away all his possessions, and therefore the king entered the order of Benaprastha and went to the forest with his wife. 3. Bahuka died when he was old, and one of his wives wanted to die with him, following the sati rite. At that time, however, Arva Muni, knowing her to be pregnant, forbade her to die. Knowing that she was pregnant, the co-wives of the wife of Bahuka conspired to give her poison with her food, but they did not act. Instead, the son was born along with the poison. Therefore, he became famous as Sagara, one who was born with poison. Sagara later became the emperor. The place known as Ganga Sagara was excavated by his sons. Sagara Maharaj followed the order of his spiritual master, Aurva, did not kill the uncivilized men like the Talajangas, Yavanas, Shakas, Haihayas, and Barbaras. Instead, some of them he made dress awkwardly, some of them he shaved clean but allowed to wear mustaches. Some of them he left wearing loose hair, some he half shaved, some he left without underwear, and some without external garments. Thus, these different clans were made to dress differently, but King Sagara did not kill them. Following the instruction of the great sage Aurva, Sagar Maharaj performed Ashvamedha sacrifices and thus satisfied the Supreme Lord, who is the supreme controller, the super soul of all learned scholars, and the knower of all Vedic knowledge, the supreme personality of Godhead. But Indra, the king of heaven, stole the horse meant to be offered at the sacrifice. King Sagara had two wives, Sumati and Keshini. The sons of Sumati, who were very proud of their prowess and influence, following the order of their father, searched for the lost horse. While doing so, they dug into the earth very extensively. Thereafter, in the northeastern direction, they saw the horse near the ashrama of Kapila Muni. Here is the man who has stolen the horse, they said. He's staying there with closed eyes. Certainly he's very sinful. Kill him, kill him. Shouting like this, the sons of Sagara, 60,000 altogether, raised their weapons. When they approached the sage opened his eyes. Now we read the Sanskrit, which verse, text 11. Swashariragnina tavan Mahendra Rita Chetasaha Mahadhyati Kramahata Basmasat Abhavan Kshanat Swashariragnina tavan Mahendra Rita Chetasaha Mahavyati Kramahata Basmasad Abhavangshana. Please chant. Vaishnavas, Swasharira Agni, by the fire emanating from their own bodies. Tavat, immediately. Mahendra, by the tricks of Indra, the king of heaven. Hrita Chetasaha, their consciousness having been taken away. Mahat, a great personality. Vyatikrama, defeated by the fault of insulting. Basmasat, turned to ashes. Abhavan, became. Shanat, immediately. Please repeat. By the influence of Indra, the king of heaven, the sons of Sagara had lost their intelligence and disrespected a great personality. Consequently, fire emanated from their own bodies, and they were immediately burned to ashes. Purport. The material body is a combination of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. There is already fire within the body, and our practical experience is that the heat of this fire sometimes increases and sometimes decreases. The fire within the bodies of the sons of Sagara Maharaj became so much hotter than all of them burned, so much hotter that all of them burned to ashes. The fire's increased heat was due to their misbehavior toward the great personality. Such misbehavior is called Mahat Vyatikrama. They were killed by the fire of their own bodies because of insulting a great personality. I'm going to read the next verse because it's very much related to the incident. Sasadu vado muniko pavarjita nripendra putra iti sattva dhammani katam tamoro shamayam vibhavyate jagat pavitratmani ke rajo bhuva. It is sometimes argued that the sons of King Sagara were burned to ashes by the fire emanating from the eyes of Kapila Muni. This statement, however, is not approved by great learned persons, for Kapila Muni's body is completely in the mode of goodness, and therefore he cannot manifest the mode of ignorance in the form of anger, just as the pure sky cannot be polluted by the dust of the earth. So, having been describing all the dynasty of King Mandata, now we come to the incident where the sons of Sagara. It's amazing, the story of Sagara, isn't it? I mean, his father died before he was born, so his mother was gonna do sati to burn herself along with the body of her husband, and that was voluntarily. Nobody was asking her to do it because she was feeling so much separation from the husband that was unbearable, the idea just to live without him. So she decided to commit sati. But then one sage, Arva, told her, no, you can't do that, because by his mystic power he could see, she was pregnant. So he stopped her. Don't do it. We're going to have a son. You can't do that. So she stopped. But then the co-wives became envious and jealous. And they put poison in her food to die. Imagine, I mean, not everybody, in Vedic history was a saint, There were all kinds of people, all kinds of people. Like this co-wives, the same thing happened to Chitraketu's co-wives. They also became very jealous, and they killed the son of Chitraketu after being born because they were neglected, and the mother of the child was given all the preferences and best treatment, so they became so jealous. So we see something similar. Because they knew that she was pregnant, they wanted to kill her. Just out of jealousy and envy. My God. So just see, of course, nowadays they kill by millions the children before they are born. So it's much worse in Kali Yuga. I mean, it's terrible. But anyway, the son was born even with the poison, so he was saved by the blessing of Arva Muni, and he became the emperor. So he had 60,000 sons. My God, how he managed to do that? Sometime we read the Srimad Bhagavatam, you hear some amazing, far-out things. And then makes me think, I mean, we the Hare Krishna people, we believe in the very amazing things, isn't it? But that's okay because we have the explanation, I mean, which is called Achintya Shakti, unconceivable potencies. I mean, the Lord can empower any living entity to do unconceivable things. Once a scholar, Indian scholar, told me, you Gaudiya Vaishnavas, anything you can't explain, you just say Achintya, Achintya, Achintya. You solve the problem easily that way. And as a fact, the Lord can give energy potency to anyone to do amazing things. So, anyway, Sagar Maharaj, the king, he was doing horse sacrifices and he was pleasing the Supreme Lord with those. But then Indra became a little jealous. Because Indra is famous, he have done 100 horse sacrifices. So anybody who want to achieve the same feat, he tried to some or other spoil it. So some or other he stole this horse, and Sagar Maharaj sent his 60,000 sons to search for the horse. So we are coming now to this part of the history of Srimad Bhagavatam. So they were going all around, they excavated the earth looking for everywhere, and finally they found the horse at the ashram of Kapila Muni. And they jumped to conclusion. Just like that. They saw the horse next to the ashram, they jumped to conclusion, this man must have stolen the horse. And what we have to do about it? He's very simple, kill him. Kill him. This reminds me of a story. It happened in South America at the beginning of the movement there. The first devotees arriving there, one was Canadian, his name was Hanuman, and 4 American devotees. And this Canadian devotee, Hanuman, he went to preach at the university, and he didn't know that most of the students at that time were communists, Marxists, atheists, So he started to preach God consciousness, and they became disturbed. They started to argue their atheism and Marxism and all, and he started to defeat their argument with logic and Shastra and all this. They became more disturbed. So they accused him of being CIA agent. And they started to shout, this is a spy, CIA agent, kill him, grab him. So he has to run for his life, He was running for his life, and they were chasing him with ropes and sticks, beat him, kill him, hang him. I mean, poor devotee was running for his life, and one lawyer passed with his car, and he saw the scene, and he stopped the car. He thought, this man, the orange-clouded man, he must his life is in danger. So he stopped the car, opened the back door, and waved to the devotee. Signed, and the devotee jumped on the car, and he saved his life, you know. So that's Agyata Sukriti, you know. That same lawyer came to know Prabhupada and became devotee, started to chant japa, go morning walk with Prabhupada. I mentioned that in one book I wrote about Prabhupada in South America, Venezuela. It's already published in Spanish, but it's already translated in English. I hope I can publish it soon too. So, by your blessings, Prabhupada's blessings. Anyway, so it's very, very important that we try to avoid jumping to conclusion by seeing something apparently wrong in our own perception. We could be wrong. We have to wait and analyze the situation with cool head, you know. But because the sons of Sagara, they were influenced by Indra. They fell, you know, to commit a great offense, against a great personality. Mahad Vyatikrama. Mahad is a great personality. Vyatikrama, great offense against him. Kapila Muni. There's one story about that, how, you know, it's dangerous or bad to jump to conclusion. There was a farmer family living in India, and the husband told his wife, I'm going to work the field, please take care of the child. The son was sleeping. And the mother thought, oh, the boy is sleeping, then let me go buy some vegetables I need in the market and come back. And they have a pet, which was a mongoose. You know mongoose? Is an enemy of the cobras. Anyway, when she came back from buying her stuff, she saw the mongoose walking very nervously in front of the house and his mouth full of blood. So she jumped to the conclusion, this damned animal killed my son. So she threw a big stone on its head and killed the poor animal. And then she rushed into the house and she found her son sleeping peacefully and a dead cobra next to him. So she started to lament, oh no, I made a big mistake. This animal's mouth was with blood because he killed the cobra to protect the child. So, I feel very bad that I jumped to a conclusion like that. Mm-hmm. So there's this very good example about how to prevent to jump to conclusions. Mm-hmm. So anyway, because they made this great offense, they lost their intelligence. They just lost their intelligence. They could not prevent doing such a big mistake, big offense. And because of their great offense, the fire within their own bodies burned them to ashes. Hare Krishna. It is interesting that in the next verse, it is explained that some people argue that Kapila Muni, when he opened his eyes, because he was with eyes closed in deep meditation, then he opened his eyes. So some people argue that because Kapila Muni opened his eyes, with his eyes he burned them to ashes just by looking at them. But that is not correct, because Kapila Muni is completely in the mode of goodness, and therefore he will not harm anybody. He will not become angry, which comes from the mode of ignorance. Therefore, this statement is false, completely wrong. You know, sometimes people make stories like that, you know. So there is one famous or unfamous story that this great lady saint, what's her name? Very famous in North India, Mirabai. It's a story that she went to Vrindavan and she wanted to speak. Sometimes they say Rupa Goswami, some others say Jiva Goswami, either way. And supposedly that Jiva or Rupa Goswami told her, no, we are sannyasi, we don't speak with the ladies. And she said that, oh, I thought in Vrindavan everybody is female, only Krishna is the only male. So then supposedly they agreed to see her, to talk to her. But Prabhupada said that story can't be true, because in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition there is no prohibition to speak with the ladies in a respectful way, you know, in a public place. You know? There is no such prohibition, you know. So anyway, sometimes stories are made like that and people believe it. Even one associate of Lord Chaitanya, he was traveling with Lord Chaitanya in Vrindavan, and he heard some story and he went to ask permission from Lord Chaitanya. Please, I heard the people that at night they saw Lord Krishna on Kaliya, and the jewels from Kaliya's head were shining. Please give me permission. I also want to go to see Krishna and Kaliya. Lord Chaitanya chastised him. He said, you are a scholar. How can you believe this gossip of people, you know? What they see at night is a fisherman with a lamp in his boat, and they mistake the boat for Kaliya and the fisherman to be Krishna because of the dark. So you are a scholar. You shall not believe everything you see or hear from people. So that's very important, because nowadays in the internet people post all kinds of things, and naive, simple devotee, they believe everything they read, like it is absolute true. As in the internet must be true. Like used to be, everything comes on the TV must 100% must be true. You know, isn't like that. So we should not be fooled like that. Anyway, so it is a fact that the body is made of earth, water, fire, and etc. That's explained by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhumira panalobayo kammanu buddhirevacha ahankaraiti yamme binna prakritirashtada. He explained that earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego are my inferior energy. But above this energy, appareyamitastvanyam prakriti vidhime param Jivabhuta Mahabaho Yayidam Daryate Jagat is the living entity above these material elements and is struggling to maintain this universe. So the struggle for existence going on from time immemorial, and we see people struggling to get what they need, what they want. So, but by following the process of Krishna conscious Bhakti Yoga, one can gradually become purified from all material contamination and rise to the platform of transcendental devotional service to the Lord. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prajojita Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Gyanam Chayad Ahaitukam. Just by engaging devotional service to Lord Krishna, one gets transcendental knowledge and detachment from the material world. So unless one has transcendental knowledge, one cannot become detached from material sense gratification. That's the disease of the soul. Being eternal wants to enjoy the temporary material elements. So that's the problem. That's the whole problem. Once a devotee was visiting one temple and came to greet me, and I asked him, how you're doing? He said, here I am, struggling in the material world. And I asked him, are you struggling to stay or to get out? Everybody has to struggle somewhere or other. So it's important to know that is glorious to struggle to get out of material consciousness. Because material consciousness means we keep the wrong idea that I can enjoy the material world and be happy doing it. That's the dictation of ahankara, the false ego, that make us believe such a lie, a big lie. I mean, we were reading also about slave trade in Vedic times. Do you think there are no slaves today? Everybody is slaves to their senses and mind. Great dictator. They are being, this material world is full of cheaters and the cheated, exploited and exploiter. Even regularly, the name of course have changed. They pay them, paycheck every 2 weeks or 1 month, but they are voluntary slaves. They are giving all their time to serve a bad master, isn't? And if they change job, means they're changing master. Prabhupada, he criticized, the PhD, they go door to door like a dog asking for employment, please give me employment. They end up driving a taxi. Isn't? So strong words may be, but that's the reality, is the truth. The world is made in such a way that slavery has only changed name, but it's still going on. People are getting exploited. Have you seen documentaries about poor workers in poor countries, and big companies like Walmart exploiting them, paying them very little and working all day, So the slavery is going on. Exploitation everywhere is going on. So that's the nature of conditioned soul, lacking Krishna consciousness. That's why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, there is nothing lacking in this world but Krishna consciousness. So that's the reality. So the whole purpose of this pastime with Sagara and his son descendants finally was that King Bhagirath, one of the descendants, he was able to bring the river Ganges from heavenly planet to purify his descendants that they were burnt to ashes because they committed offense against Kapila Muni. So by their ashes being washed by the Ganges river, they will become purified and ascend to heaven. That was the whole idea, the whole purpose. I mean, that's the power of such pure river like the Ganges. Even by touching the ashes of sinful people, they become purified. Even after long time, still the soul, whatever it is, immediately will go up. Heavenly planet or a spiritual planet even, possible. So once Nanda Maharaj, Krishna's father, he was hearing about the glories of the Ganges river from Narad Muni. And Narad Muni was describing that Garuda, he caught a big, huge snake to eat it, and he was flying over the Ganges with it. But somehow or other, the big snake could release itself and fell to the Ganges, and by touching the water, the snake died. But immediately took a four-armed forms and went back to Vaikuntha. Imagine how powerful is the Ganges. Just somebody will die, even an animal, by touching its water can go back to Vaikuntha. So when Nanda Maharaj heard that, he decided to make a pilgrimage to the Ganges. That he had to go to Haridwar, very far away from Vrindavan, By bullock car, it takes so long. So Krishna will not allow that. With his mind, he brought the Ganges to Vrindavan, and that's called Manasi Ganga. So this evening, we're going to give a seminar about the demons killed by Balarama and Krishna and the anartha they represent. We're going to tell a lot of pastimes and stories with some profound philosophical meaning, practical for our, spiritual advancement and purification we much need, you know. So please listen or come if you can. Thank you. So I'm going to ask now for some questions. Yes, please, Archita Prabhu.
You already touched on some pertinent questions.
Yes.
So there's one more. There are actually several, but I'll just touch on one that arises. Here we see that the 60,000 sons of Sagara, they died from that internal fire because they insulted a... But we have so many examples of great saintly persons being insulted, and that didn't happen. Like, you know, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur.
Yes.
How come those guys didn't burn immediately? They dared to touch, you know, and beat, not just touch, to beat Namacharya. How come they didn't just burn up immediately?
Well, because different pastime teach different lessons, you know. They don't have to be all the same. So in the case of Haridas Thakur, he wanted to prove the power of the holy name. And also forgiveness, because the man repented later and he was forgiven and saved. So that's even better, you know. Like we see Sagar Maharaj that didn't kill the uncivilized people. He tried to, you know, rectify them, you know, some or other, you know. He made them look a little different, you know, half shaved, you know, fully shaved and naked and with clothes, different things. And this all became like the aborigines of different parts of the world, you know. Understand? So better not to kill, but to rectify. So in the same way, Haridas Thakur, they want the man to die. So because the Lord wants to please his devotees, so he didn't allow that the fire from their body burn them to ashes, because Haridas Thakur eventually wanted to give him mercy. So the man suffered from leprosy, but then he repented, then he was forgiven. That's Lord Chaitanya's mercy, you know. He came to save all the fallen souls, to forgive all the sinful people if they repent sincerely. So that's higher platform of bhakti. Yes. Satchitanoi Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj. In these different yagyas that we talk, Sankirtan yagya is very, at least for me, it's very easy to understand how higher beings, demigods, Krishna himself, Lord Chaitanya, get benefit, all living entities.
Yes.
In the Asvamedha yagya or other yagyas, when we heard that the demigods get pleased or by the offering, for example, of the horse sacrifice or animal sacrifice, what is it that they get, that sometimes even they get upset when they get their share, their part?
Yes.
What was that particular offering that they get that gives them pleasure?
Very good question. We were asking that same question ourselves yesterday, isn't it? How they will be pleased by this sacrifice. There are many subtle energy going on in the universe. We don't understand all of them, of course. I mean, with our limited capacity, we can try to analyze and try to understand the meaning of them. But the fact is, there are subtle energies in the work, and when the offering is given to Lord Vishnu, the demigods, they also have to have their share of it. You know, that's the traditional way to do yagyas. So they have to have their share of it. And if they don't get it, of course, they will get upset, because they are also part of the management of the universal affairs. They were given that post by Lord Vishnu himself. So they were entitled to get their shares in the sacrifice. That's the way it is. That's the way it is explained in the Vedas too. So why just try to, get bewildered by those statements? We just accept them as fact as they are. And understand it's not a physical thing, it's a subtle thing, you know, going on. It's very subtle energies on the work. And they used to enjoy these offerings too, you know. Of course, first was offered to Lord Vishnu, so that means all the remnants was prasad. So they were eager for Mahaprasad, you may say, the demigods, okay? So that's a devotional way to see it too.
I was wondering about Yeah, we cannot say we just accept that's good. Sometimes when you're giving a lecture, when you're talking to someone, a person asks you.
Yes.
Like last week, someone asked me, why just the horses? He mentions about the horses sacrifice. What is the
Yes.
specific thing about the horse? Thinking like there are many other animals.
No, there were also cow sacrifices too, bull sacrifices too. They would usually sacrifice either horse or cow or bull.
Earlier we heard about searching in the forest for wild animals and he ate a rabbit that was meant for sacrifice. It wasn't just horse and bull, there were other wild animals that were offered.
Yes, several animals were offered, but the main animals were horse, and because they were large animals, the idea was by sacrificing large animals, less animals will be killed. Understand? So, anyway, in Kali Yuga it is prohibited, animal sacrifice. We don't have to worry more about it. You know, even in South India, Ramanujacharya, or was Ramanujacharya or Madhvacharya? I think it was Madhvacharya. Some Brahmana were still attached to do animal sacrifice even in Kali Yuga. So he had a brother, he was doing this. So to teach his brother a lesson, he made animals made of, you know, paper, and he was throwing those animals on the fire just to please his brother, you know. So like, they have the shape of an animal but being sacrificed like that. So people get all kind of, you know, things in their head and get attached to so many things. But we have to preach pure Krishna consciousness, so help them to understand that this is lower states, there is higher state, you know. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for a nice class, Maharaj. If somebody's severely mentally handicapped,
Yes.
we wouldn't expect them to be able to ascertain what's a good direction for themselves in life. I mean,
Right.
even if they were hit over the head with it, they just would be incapable, because they're so severely mentally handicapped, of discriminating whether this is good or that's bad.
Yes.
So in the same way, it's stated that the conditioned soul has 4 defects, and therefore the process of pratyaksha is not considered a very good way of getting knowledge.
Mhm.
So how could we be so confident that we've come in contact with the absolute truth? We have the 4 defects. We're like that person who's severely mentally handicapped. We're incapable of discriminating.
Well, we follow Prabhupada's example. Prabhupada used to say, I'm not perfect, but what I'm saying is perfect because I'm quoting Krishna and the Guru Parampara. So that's the safe position. We may have all the facts, but we repeat the knowledge as it is, as we have heard it from our Guru and Guru Parampara, then we are in the safe position. We are not making any mistake. We are not cheating anybody, nor ourselves, because we are following the authority. Shastra, Guru and Sadhu. Then we are in a safe position. But if we start with mental speculation, I believe maybe this, maybe that, then that's a problem. Sometimes devotees don't know the answer to one question and they just start speculating. Then that's not good. They should frankly say, honestly, I don't know. Please ask somebody who may know better than me, you know. Or find in the Shastra, you know, the answer, something like that. So be honest, you know. But we should know, we should read the Prabhupada's book, learn from them, become expert in expounding Krishna consciousness to the general people and to the devotees. And by following strictly the process of Krishna consciousness, our word can be authoritative because we are quoting the authority. Then we are in a safe position. Don't you think?
Yeah. I'm kind of spinning it. How do you know how do we know we're not all not just totally deluded? Like in that example, that person who's severely mentally handicapped.
Yes.
He's incapable of discriminating.
Well, we have to be cured then first. That's why Prabhupada said, when somebody is sick, has to follow a diet and take a medicine. The diet is only Krishna Prasad, and the medicine is the holy name of the Lord. So by following the 4 rules and chanting the holy name, we can cure from our disease condition. If somebody is handicapped, doesn't have to remain like that all his life. If he gets some treatment, he could be cured. If there is a cure for his condition, I mean to say. But for our material condition, there is a cure. There is a process that we can become sane people again, normal people. Mhm. I like Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's one statement, we don't want to be accepted as normal people, because normal people in the material world means he eat meat, he drink, does all these things. So we don't want to be seen as normal. That's okay if they see us not normal. Any other comments, questions? All right. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Haribo.